Hey, it's Grant. Before the show starts today, I want to tell you about Hangover Destroyer. Hangover Destroyer is the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. If you like to drink at night and be able to think in the morning, one shot of Hangover Destroyer lets you have all the fun and no side effects. Go to Hangover Destroyer's website, that's hdestroyer.com, write happy hour in the coupon code, and get 30% off your order of Hangover Destroyer and seize the dawn. It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com, brought to us today in part by Petite Pet Care. If you're going out of town or you have a schedule that keeps you away from home, the folks at Petite Pet Care understand that some pets are fine going to a kennel or doggy daycare, but others prefer the comfort of their own home. For loving care when you're not there, Petite Pet Care has got you covered. You can find them at petitepetcare.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limo or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you, because that's New Orleans, and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common, other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar. In this case, we're at Wayfare on Ferret Street. And the three guests of mine sitting around, what the hell are you doing?
Is
it flies?
Going around,
it's
yeah.
flies.
It's a bug.
That's the voice of Chris Lee you're hearing there catching flies, and that's Susan Bopp to my right. And Erik Frank is over here to my left. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, very nice. All right. So we're here at Wayfare. Wayfare is a restaurant and a bar that serves handcrafted food and spirits, where Chef Kevin White puts fine dining into a sandwich. And if you think that's just some sort of a bullshit slogan they've come up with here at Wayfare, wait till you try the food here. This guy, Chef Kevin White was a chef in New York for Mario Batali, and he cooked pasta with Mario Batali, and he's an awesome chef. And he moved to New Orleans. They told him here at Wayfare that he could do whatever he wanted. So he said, you know what, I'm going to make sandwiches. So they opened this place as a sandwich place, but he makes these unbelievable. I know this sounds crazy because you're like, well, how good could a sandwich be, really? But wait till you try this. And I'm not saying this just because we're getting paid. They really are awesome sandwiches here. Come check it out. They have a 3-hour happy hour here every day as well, from 4 to 7, where they have awesome drinks, which are incredibly cheap, half price during happy hour.
They have great vegetarian and vegan options as well.
They do?
They do.
Are you a vegetarian and a vegan?
I'm not, but I appreciate vegetarians and vegans.
Okay, so that's good. It's a good spot for vegetarians and vegans here at Wayfare. Okay, let me tell you who this is. This is Erik Frank, who knows something about vegan and vegetarian. I'll tell you why. Erik is the CEO of a company called Your Nutrition Delivered, which is an online health food and diet plan company that personalizes a diet that's right for you, makes it for you, and delivers it. It's hard to get fit if you're just sitting around at home. People
Impossible.
Bringing you food constantly. Erik knows how to get you fit. He's a certified personal trainer, as well as a speed, strength, and agility coach. In 2010, please pay attention to this because there's going to be arm wrestling after this sentence. In 2010, Erik won the American Powerlifting Association National Championship in the 275-pound weight class, setting a record with listen to this, a 462-pound raw bench press.
Wow. Did you weigh 275 pounds then?
I did not. I competed a little heavier than I weighed.
I gotcha.
Because I like to beat the fat guys.
Hey, how much do you weigh, Susan?
You can't ask that question.
You don't weigh anything near 462 pounds, though, right?
No.
I
can say I don't.
You don't even weigh half of that.
I'm not going to answer the
So,
question.
Erik, you could pick up two of Susan. You could pick up Susan and Chris, one in each hand.
Only if they're tipping.
They're tipping. 462 pounds is a huge amount of weight, right?
It's
ridiculous.
less than 500 pounds.
But what are the chances of having a heart attack while you do that?
20 to 1.
The good chances. Erik is married to his best friend, Steve, and they have one son, Elijah. That can't be right? No, it says Erik is married to his best friend, Rebecca. They have one son, Elijah, who is now 8 months old. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank you.
job.
8 months is a nice age, right?
That's since last year.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
kids have you got, Susan?
3.
3 kids.
One's in Houston. One started her first week at University of Alabama. The one in Houston graduated from LSU, so we've got rivals in the house.
Wow.
And now my son's 16, and he's in high school.
We have 2 older daughters.
30, 18, and 16.
So the 16-year-old one is
High school.
is a boy, and the other 2 are girls.
and the other 2 are girls.
Wow. So there's a, forgive me for not being a very good mathematician, 14-year gap between 1 and 3?
It's perfect.
How'd that happen?
It's perfect.
How did it happen?
Well, love's a funny thing, you know.
Is it?
So it's good. It's all good.
What happened over the 14 years that you didn't have any kids?
We had a lot of fun. A lot of
Was
fun.
it a decision to have a child 14 years later?
Okay, so the oldest one, Amber,
Amber.
really wanted to have a siblings, and we realized she wasn't going to quit asking, so we gave in. And then what a good choice we made, you know, because now we have Gabrielle and Jacob.
Okay.
And Gabrielle's the daughter who just started at Alabama, and then Jacob goes to school 2 blocks from our house at St. Paul's in Covington.
You live in Covington?
Yeah,
Was that intentional? That wasn't.
that was intentional.
That was a decision as well.
Intentional.
You intentionally moved to Covington. Well, we'll get on to that in a minute. I'll tell you something about Susan. Susan moved to New Orleans. And where did you move from in 1987?
And from Dallas.
Okay. That was one of the early pioneers of the warehouse district, renovating and creating an urban lifestyle for New Orleanians.
Yeah, that was
That's
a blast.
interesting. And then you moved to Covington. I don't understand that. For the past 24 years, Susan has been an idea collaborator, a marketing and branding consultant, an event producer, and community innovator.
Lots of fun things.
She's the founder of Connect and Collaborate, also known as COCO. Is that right? Your company's called COCO.
Coco.
COCO, C-O-C-O. Her company's mission is, and I quote, to help people grow, find solutions, discover what they're good at. Hey, well, that would be awesome if we could figure that out around this table this afternoon,
Yeah,
right?
let's
Been
do
looking
it.
all
What do
my
you think?
life.
Let's do it. Eric, we could find out what you're good at.
I'd love
Chris,
to find out what I'm
especially.
good at.
That would be really good. How long are there, like 20 questions you could ask us all to find out what we're good at?
Well, we're at the perfect place to do it, right? With
A
a
bar.
cocktail. Yeah.
What are you drinking?
Yeah.
That's a nice looking drink.
I know. They tempted me with the machine. It's a margarita. And
It's a
really
frozen
good.
margarita. It
It's
looks
their
great.
recipe.
It's a pint of margarita in a saint's glass.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. So anyway, the company's mission, I'll start at the end, is to help people grow, not in height, I assume you mean
No,
develop.
not in height.
Grow, find solutions, discover what they're good at, develop confidence in their community, share talents, and expand their ways of thinking and believing. Well, there's a whole show in this alone, right?
Easily.
Thinking
yeah,
and
I didn't know you had all
believing.
that information.
Yeah, we've got a crack research team. You,
Oh my
actually,
God.
you're looking at it right over there. It's Graham DePonte, our producer. Chris Lee is sitting across the table from you. You're going to be surprised when you hear about this, if you don't know Chris already. Chris is the director of the Turn Again Arm Tidal Energy Corporation in Anchorage, Alaska. Chris has also been a producer of scripted and reality TV projects, a consulting producer for MSN's web content, and since 2002 has been the owner of the Brothers Lee #1 Publishing Company Incorporated.
Wow.
So he's like a businessman.
Kudos to
I'm
you.
a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a businessman.
That can sing.
And
He can
I
also sing.
Yes, I can
And
sing.
play the guitar.
You may
Well,
know
that
Chris,
remains to be seen.
We'll find that out.
We'll find out.
You may recognize Chris if you're listening to this as one of New Orleans' most successful rock musicians. In the 90s, Chris was the frontman for the band Supagroup, who toured with a variety of major rock acts, from Queens of the Stone Age to Alice Cooper, playing over 1,200 gigs, recording 7 albums, and landing 4 singles in the top 40, all while single-handedly keeping rock alive. Good job.
You're welcome,
You
world.
did it.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
going. Rock and roll.
Handed the baton off and they're
So
dropping
anyway,
it.
the band kept rocking and recording beyond the 90s into about the first decade of the 2000s, till about 2011 it looked like it sort of has come
Yeah.
to an end. That was the last time I think we had you on the show right
Yeah.
when you made that last
We were
record.
winding down then.
Yeah. And now you've got the Chris Lee Band.
That's for fun. Yeah. Yeah.
What is the Chris Lee Band all about?
Well, you know, just because I'm doing other, I've kind of moved on from music and started TV producing. But just because you do that doesn't mean you don't stop writing songs. So I had all these songs. Eventually, it's like eating, right? You ingest experiences. You figure
has to
stuff
go
out.
somewhere.
It has to go somewhere. So I had to excrete these songs before I could successfully ingest more experiences. So I recruited a couple friends to help me record some demos, and they were from my wife's band. And pretty soon they're like, "Hey, we should play a song. I mean, we should play a show. We should play a show. We should play a show." So we played a couple shows. But
Your
it's
wife's band is Star and Dagger?
Star and Dagger, yeah.
And what reality TV shows have you been a part of?
I worked on Jersey Licious, which is a show about New Jersey hairdressers and makeup artists. Its spin-off, Glam Fairy, also a
Glam,
Glam-
F-A, IRY.
Glam Fairy.
Glam
yeah.
Fairy.
They took the most crazy person from Jerseylicious that did makeup and made a whole show around her.
I'm sorry to say that I know very well about both of those shows. They're two of my wife's favorites.
Are you kidding?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Anything from New Jersey, dealing with women or housewives, my wife was all about.
Why?
She's a lunatic.
So you got to watch these shows?
I've seen them all.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I've never met anybody
Your
who's
work.
actually watched it.
Your
Wow.
work is amazing.
So, well, thank you. It was my job to ride shotgun on all those crazy ladies. It was fun. It was a very fun experience. A couple years in the New York, New Jersey area.
A lot of animal print, right? A lot
yeah,
of animal print.
Yeah, they were trying to cash in on the Jersey Shore thing. So it was like the second wave. So it kind of was popular, but the girls on the show really thought they were like Elizabeth Taylor.
So what were they like?
Yeah.
They were awful, the most awful people I've ever met in my life. And can we cuss on this? I don't want to.
Yes,
I don't want to
you
get
can
into this.
say
They
it.
were just the worst. Because, okay, there's one thing if you're a star and you're a diva, right? Well, you're carrying a picture or a television show or something. These guys are hairdressers, right? And they think they're like Britney Spears or something. It's like, no, we hired you because you're so fucking crazy, not because you're such a big goddamn star. But you can never say that. You have to be like, oh no, you look great. You don't need to have a meltdown over the awful way your hair looks this morning. You look awesome, and just here's what you need to say. I need you to go out there and do it. You know.
So how long were you with them?
I worked on that for 3 seasons. 3 seasons of 2 of Jerseylicious and 1 of Glam Fairy.
Glam Fairy didn't catch on very well, did it?
Glam Fairy died after 2 seasons. Yes.
Eric, how would you describe the show?
I would say it was a train wreck meeting a car accident in the middle of an abortion.
What goes on at your
Why,
house?
thank you.
Do you have to watch these shows with your wife?
Yeah, it's foreplay.
So, Chris, you got Eric led.
Well, again, you're welcome, world.
Thank you, Chris.
You never know how you touch
And
somebody's
my
life.
son can thank you because that's how he was conceived.
I'm
So-
actually very excited to meet someone who's actually seen that show. Like, no one ever knows what the hell I'm talking about. That's awesome.
What happened to it? It wasn't successful?
They got canceled. You know, after a while, it's
Well,
just
everything gets canceled
just
eventually.
ran
but
out of steam. They ran out of steam.
How
Nobody
often
cared.
did you watch it, Eric?
Well, we DVR'd it, so we usually watch it hourly if we couldn't get to it at least bi-hourly. Once a week, twice a week.
Okay, and what are the other shows that your wife likes to watch? Like, what?
Anything with real or housewives in it, she's a
Okay.
fan of.
What does she do? She's a nutritionist. right?
She's a nurse. She's a registered nurse. She works for Humana now. Best thing that's ever happened to me. Keeps me in line. But she
Well, she
loves-
came up with the whole idea for Your Nutrition Delivered, it says in this bio that I have about you.
She's
So
come
she
up
is totally the best thing that happened.
Every good idea I've ever had, she's been behind. So absolutely.
Wow, what
Lucky man.
What are some of the other good ideas you've had?
Have you heard of?
The Beatles. Is that
Did
you?
you? That was
She is a genius, your wife.
the Pet Rock.
Pat Rock, that was
That
her.
us.
Okay.
That was us.
No, what have you heard of? What were you going to say?
I actually was going to say the Beatles. It's amazing that you
That's-
that you.
I'm
knew
psychic, because that's what I'm good at. That's my 20 questions, and Susan said psychic. What were you going to say? What was some of her good ideas, really, seriously?
Well, you know, she is a health aficionado, and she worked at Children's Hospital for years, night shifts, and the cafeteria would close at 7 p.m. It wouldn't open until 7 a.m. And there was nothing for 20% of the staff to eat in the hospital. Right. So we came up with a solution that would feed the staff at hospitals overnight.
I've got it.
And we created something
The
we
vending machine.
We call fresh coolers that we put into hospitals that allow for employees to have 24-hour access to healthy food that we have 15 of in the city now. And I was inspired by my wife not being able to eat a healthy meal while at work. And now all of the LCMC properties, Children's, Toro, University Medical Center, have the machines in them.
Wow.
So I thank my wife for that. Absolutely.
So
Bingo.
she was hungry, and you came up with the idea.
Right.
It
She was hungry, and I didn't want to drive at 1 o'clock in the morning to Children's Hospital to feed her. So we created a technology that could feed all nurses
So
everywhere.
you came up with an idea of healthy food in a vending machine.
fresh cooler. Vending machines give you diabetes, and fresh coolers.
I thought you were going to say
treat you.
diarrhea.
That too.
Is that right?
That too.
Vending machines give you diabetes.
Sure. Well, they Cokes and Cheetos and things like that.
Yeah,
are
but
what
you can
find in
replace
vending
that with
machines.
something healthy. But you've actually got it's a refrigerated, so it has healthy.
Correct.
food.
Correct. The refrigerator works off employee ID badges, works on subsidy programs. So our biggest client, Latrim in River Ridge, they subsidize the cost of healthy meals for high-risk employees because that's how much their employees mean to them.
What do they do at Latrim?
They're a manufacturing company. They're
Yeah.
the second biggest employer in Jefferson Parish, 1,200 employees.
Wow.
They do $400 million a year in revenue, and we feed their workforce.
Is that the product that you competed with in Idea Village?
That is not. We launched this in November of 13. We went through the accelerator program of Idea Village the year before.
So, do you have a patent on this thing?
We have the technology licensed. So we've licensed the technology. This technology was used to sell ice and propane out of in front of convenience stores. So you go to an Easy Serve, you go in, you say I'll take one bag of ice. You go out and you take 12 out of the cooler.
Do you?
So this you do this. That's why I was saying it to you.
Oh, you're talking about me doing
Right,
it. I hadn't
right.
thought of that. Do people actually do that? You could.
This technology was created to stop that. We saw the technology through the Idea Village. We were introduced to this technology, and we repurposed it and licensed it in order to sell fresh food.
So when you go to the store and that ready ice is outside in the freezer thing there, and you pay the 99 cents or $1.69 or whatever it is for a bag of ice, there's something that's going to stop you taking. If you take two, you're going to get busted, other than the security camera.
So Chris told
Just
me
so
that
we know.
he would go in and he would say, I'm going to buy one, and he
Yeah.
would open up the cooler and he would take 6.
Right.
Now they put this technology on, you swipe a credit card, and every bag that comes out is weighed, just like our technology in the fresh cooler. It weighs everything, so it knows what's coming out, and it bills your credit card for whatever is taken out.
So on the North
I
Shore.
learned that the hard way. It was awful.
There's nothing worse than getting arrested for stealing ice.
Yeah, and the
How
North
lame
Shore it's
was
still
that?
an honor system. We have no such technology.
For honor.
Covington, Louisiana.
You don't need it over there,
No,
right?
we don't
Everyone's
need
nice.
it. It's everyone's nice.
Did you move there because you don't like black people? Is that true? That's what everybody says.
Who says that?
Everyone says that the North Shore was created because of white flight.
Oh, well, the reason
is
I
that
moved
true?
there,
No. What's the reason you moved there?
because my husband, that's really where his grandfather had property over there, and his family was, treated the North Shore like a fun weekend thing, but would never consider moving there. But
Right.
he wanted to move. So
Why did he want to move there?
It's beautiful. And it's a great place to raise a family,
Was it?
and it's really creative.
Okay, well, that's something I haven't heard before. All right. What is
Yeah.
it really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great environment for being creative.
Yeah, I
and
can
it's,
imagine
it's
that.
yeah. I mean, you can take away a lot of the fears that some people have in New Orleans, where you can walk to your mailbox in the middle of the night. You can take a walk in the middle of the night if you want, and you're going to be perfectly fine.
Do you take a walk in the middle of the night very often? I guess
I will walk.
14 years you might have.
Yeah, I walk. I mean, I walk when it gets cool, which is 7, 8 o'clock sometimes, or run, and it gets dark before I get home.
You run?
I like to run.
How far do you run?
Lots of ideas.
Yeah. How far do you run each time?
Well, as the age number keeps going up,
Yeah.
the mile number keeps coming down. So, I mean, I love to run for an hour. So whatever I can do in an hour.
That's pretty good.
Long
That's a
run.
lot. Graham, do you run? This is our producer, Graham
Hello.
DePonte, who we dragged
Hi,
onto the
Graham.
microphone today.
Yes,
for
I've
Graham.
decided to take Andrew's place.
How often do you run, Graham, every day?
You know, I ran until I broke my ankle, and it's one of those things. You know how people say, if you remembered how painful childbirth was, you would never have any more kids. I remember how painful it was breaking my ankle, and I would never have any. I mean, that's it. It's
They
really.
put you off running
It's
forever?
hard for me to think about running. Yeah, it was terrible.
What about these people who play professional sports and they get busted up all the time? They
That's
have
why I
get
don't
a
do it.
cortisone shot, and you're not a professional athlete.
No interest. No.
Yeah, they pay
Really?
a
That's
price.
So it's like aversion therapy.
You know, it's PTSD. Honestly,
Really?
it is. Yeah, it is. I don't even like to look at a sidewalk. Really.
So many people have been injured in their lives, though, and they've got back in the car after a car accident, or
yes.
they've got back on the horse after they got thrown off the horse. I'm surprised you stand up.
It would be different if
Standing
she
is-
tried to walk on the North Shore. I guarantee you'd enjoy your walk.
I walk a lot. I love
Just
walking.
no more running.
Just
I got
running.
you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
I
okay.
was
running.
Chris, what do you do for exercise?
Nothing. No,
I
I try to
believe
avoid
it.
it. I don't. If there's water around, I love to swim. I ride my bike around, I guess.
Oh,
But it's
that
not
does
for
it.
exercise. It's like to get around town.
Just to get from A to B, but that is inadvertently exercise.
Inadvertent exercise.
Yeah,
And I would never intentionally exercise
Actually,
if I can help
get up
it.
in the
Good
morning
for you.
to go do
That's the
something.
spirit.
You have
That's
a,
the spirit.
You have a pool though, right? I saw it.
I have a
I saw it in the
pool.
magazine.
Yeah,
somewhere.
You did. Oh,
I saw it
yeah.
online.
Well, the pool is awesome, but it's only a couple months a year. So taking advantage while I can. I just got out of the pool. It was awesome.
Ah, nice.
But
Wait, why is
yeah.
the pool only a couple months a year? I don't understand that.
it's not heated. So after like
Do you live in New Orleans?
October, it's cold. Believe me, it's cold. Your blood gets thin. You'd be surprised. Not until June.
You're from Anchorage, Alaska, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but I've been here way longer
Yeah.
now. I've been here since '88. So
Yeah, that's a long time. You've got. Do you ever go back to Anchorage?
once in a while, like I
must
try
freeze your
to
ass.
I try to avoid it, but I went back. I would have never done this voluntarily. My father had like a health thing, so we had to go back in February.
Because he didn't exercise.
He didn't exercise. That's exactly right, and he only eats prime rib.
Well, it's too dark there.
And it's too dark. And in February, we got off the plane, and it was -14.
Oh wow!
And my wife had never experienced anything
No,
like that.
she's
And
from
she's like, "But you're from here." I'm like, "Well, it's been a while. I have not experienced this in a long time."
Where's Sean from? She's from Los Angeles.
North Carolina.
North Carolina
Yeah.
originally. Oh,
Yeah.
so can you tell the difference between -14 and like -1?
You can. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big difference.
Where does it get to the point where you just can't tell the difference anymore? Like,
Like-
negative 20, 25?
Like around there.
Yeah.
Around there, below that, all you're thinking about is survival. So you don't tell the difference.
But it is beautiful there. We went there last year, and it was really, really pretty. I think we were the oldest people. I mean, the youngest people on the tours going through.
Yeah.
But it
Nicer
was
than
really
Covington?
pretty. In Alaska.
It's gorgeous
What-
there, yeah.
What when you were there, when you lived there, and it's like negative. What is it when you during the course of a day? Say?
So like in Anchorage, you get like 2 weeks of -15 a year, but on the whole, it's like between 0 and 20. During the winter.
So what?
not
so when
terrible.
you get used to it, as you must do when you're living there,
Yeah.
what do you wear? Do you have to wear those stupid big clothes all the
Oh,
time? or
people
do
are
you-
wearing shorts in like 40 degrees there. That's
Okay.
you get that used to it. They're like, t-shirt weather.
Wow, and you were like that when you grew
Yeah.
up.
Oh yeah, totally.
So you got on the plane at some point and came to college at Tulane.
which was like
What was
diving
that
into
like?
a sauna. Well,
Could you
I
even breathe when
No,
you-
I couldn't understand what was happening to my body at all. I was like, this is not happening. Until I spent an entire summer down here. So I would keep going home and work in Alaska till I was in my mid-20s. But until I did one full summer where I just had to take it. But since then, it's flipped, and now I can't
You can't
go
take
back.
the cold.
I can't take the cold anymore. Yeah.
Do you like
Yeah.
going back?
No, I couldn't wait to leave that place. Okay, so imagine Anchorage is the biggest town in Alaska by far, and it's smaller than Baton Rouge. And unlike Baton Rouge, the closest city isn't, real city is an hour, and it isn't an hour and a half away. It's 48 hours in a car or 3.5 hour plane ride. The closest city is actually Honolulu. It's just closer
Perfect
than
isolation.
Seattle. So you don't have the escape. And if you're not, one thing I learned when I moved to New Orleans, or moved out of they call it the lower 48 from up there, the rest of the country, is that I was a city boy. I got to a city, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what they
Yeah.
mean by city boy. I'm like, I'm a city boy.
You
if you
found
like,
yourself.
Yeah, if you like hunting and fishing and camping, and I don't like sleeping bags. I won't sleep in a sleeping bag. I'm done with that for the rest of my life, forever. And I'm proud of that.
What do you think would have happened to you if you didn't leave? And would you have? What would you have done if you'd had to stay there?
I can't imagine a scenario where I would have stayed there.
Do you have friends who are still there?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what do you? How do you get along with them now? When you
I
go
get
there?
along great with them, but I still just can't believe, that
Are
they like it.
Are
But
they? I mean, people living there because they live in this like insular place. Are they narrow-minded and intolerant, or are they open-minded and
I like anywhere.
anything goes,
It
or
depends
is it just a
who you're,
cross-section?
by the person. But on the whole, it's a pretty conservative state. It's
Right.
very insular, and there's but Alaska is a very big independent streak. They had one of the only libertarian governors in the country for many years.
And then they had
pot,
Governor-
pot
they had
was
Governor
legal.
Palin. Pot was
and
legal?
then pot was legal until
legal.
after I left. They made it illegal, and famously in that election where pot became illegal, there were 3 candidates: Democrat, Republican, and Libertarian. The Libertarian won. And pot got more votes than the governor. So that was, even though in a losing effort. So it's that kind of ideal where.
Were there any beauty parlors there that you could film the reality show at?
I wonder.
That's the question.
I wonder. I can't imagine. There's a.
The biggest city is smaller.
That's a good idea, though.
Is the same size as Baton Rouge, so there's like one of everything or two of everything.
Yeah, like
Do they
it's
have Home Depot? Do you do?
Oh,
Home
it's like
Depot?
I mean, like I said, it's been forever. But like, say Taco Bell came to town. Oh, we got a Taco Bell. Yeah, we got a Taco Bell.
Right.
Home Depot came. Bed Bath and Beyond is here. We're a real city.
Yeah,
It's like
That
that.
sounds like New Orleans after the flood.
It does.
Yeah.
It was reminiscent of that.
crazy. Hey, Chris, should we make you play a song at this point?
I suppose.
What do you think? We went next door and we borrowed a guitar.
What was that guy's name again?
Micah
Micah.
McKee from Little Maker.
He's got a great band and a great
Yeah,
voice.
Little Maker is a great band, and we found him next door at the Rook Coffee Shop,
Yeah.
and he has a guitar leaning up against the counter. Because Chris didn't think to bring a guitar on the show that we invited him on as a music guest. Now that he's a businessman, we have to get onto your business in a little while. But first of all, let's play something from the Chris Lee Band. This is one of the songs that you excreted.
It is. Let's see.
You broke the only rule. Never fall in love. That was something that you knew not to do. A crime I'm not guilty of. I'm not sorry I stole your kisses. Not sorry I stole your kisses. Who needs them more than I? If you wanna get them back, you can try. Just try. Just try. Just try. We were making some extraordinary love. A secret kind that's best. You had someone that you didn't want to know, and now you can't confess. Well, I'm not sorry I stole your kisses. Not sorry I stole your kisses. Who needs them more than I? If you want to get them back, you can try. You can try. Just try. Solo would go here. I'm not sorry I stole your kisses. Stole your kisses, but who needs them more than I? If you wanna get them back, you can try. Just try. Just try. Just try. Just try.
Yeah. Chris Lee from the Chris Lee Band. There you go. He still got it. How often do you play?
I played those exactly twice live.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's the third time you've ever played that song
That would be
live.
the third time I've
Well,
ever played that.
congratulations. Nice. What'd you think, Eric?
Amazing. I'm waiting for Susan's song next. She said she
Susie's
wanted
going to
to
play a
Yeah.
song something too? Isn't
That's
it amazing
awesome.
that you
You
can
did a
be
good
sitting
job.
here? You can sit here and just pick up a guitar and do that. It's embarrassing, isn't it?
It's a little.
It's tough.
It's a little.
It
The
is.
place is so quiet.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
if I really go full voice in here, it's going to be really embarrassing
you
for
could do it.
everybody here. So I went the
You sort
little
of
softer
pulled it back a bit.
falsetto.
Oh, next time we'll
but
make you do another one later. You can let
do
go.
the
You can
big
let
voice?
rip. Yeah.
Oh, let it rip. All right.
Totally. Yeah.
All right.
So we were talking about ideas before, and talking about your wife's ideas, Eric, and your ideas, and then I see, in my crack research that Graham did for me here, it says in your stuff, Susan. I guess this is from LinkedIn, which is the key to everything. It says this is what did you write this? Take a closer look at life and you'll discover all sorts of clever and beneficial ideas, unfolding all the time. Ideas are something we're all passionate about, and then it says here, I had an idea, what's yours? It exists to help connect ideas and people to possibilities. So you're in the ideas business.
I love ideas. But I think even more important than ideas, I love helping people find and discover their idea and their best idea. And I think for so long in Louisiana, I mean, we're starting to see the tide change now, but for so long, people had incredible talent and very little ways to exercise that talent and really expand on it and grow. So now that we kind of are coming into a stronger time and there's more opportunities, especially for entrepreneurs and people with ideas, it's just such a fun time to really, explore them. And
Well, this has always been a big place for ideas about music and food, but you're right talking about business ideas, because people haven't cared about making money much in New Orleans.
business ideas, yeah, I guess we haven't. I think a lot of people did care, but there wasn't the opportunity there to make any money, so they just enjoyed life, which has kind of really added a lot to our environment. I mean, we're talking about how hot it is. I always say it's a good thing, and the people are so nice because the climate's a little difficult to deal with sometimes. So I think that there are always ideas unfolding, but there's not always people confident that they can make those come to pass.
So are you a psychologist?
I'm not a psychologist.
So how did you come up with this position? How did you get to this position of helping people unfold ideas?
A lot of it stems back to exactly what I'm saying. I think that there weren't always a lot of opportunities here. So as we start to, you get to live once, right? So you might as well be your best self.
Yeah, but how did you get the confidence to put yourself in the position where you encourage other people to pursue their own ideas?
Well, maybe it'd be easier to answer that by giving you an example.
Okay.
So an example of one of the projects that Eric, you met Lisa McKenzie, and so Lisa McKenzie and I had been friends for a really long time, and we run into each other one day at the gym, and she tells me about her concept she's developing, and she's sold to 250 stores throughout the U.S. and outside the country. I said, well, who's helping you? Well, mainly it's me. Every now and then somebody helps me, so the business was outpacing her. So I said, okay, I'm going to kind of come out of hibernation and really help you kind of strategize and brand this. So while her product was very cool and is very cool, my driving force is helping her find success.
But she'd already had the idea, which was the replaceable bra strap.
She did, but
right?
you can only grow so long by yourself. You know?
But hang on. She invented this thing, which is is that the Lisa McKenzie we know, right?
Yep.
So she's been on the show. She had this thing where you take a bra and you switch the bra strap out.
Right.
Ula bra.
So
Right.
the Ula bra.
Ula
You
bra.
sexify the bra.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of wearing, an ugly bra strap, you can take that one off and put a pretty one on.
So they have bra straps with rhinostones and all sorts of patterns.
Sounds like a
and
great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
But
a great idea.
But she already had that idea. So what I'm trying to say is, how did you get involved with that?
So
What
my
do you
idea
do?
is to help her expand her idea, in that particular case. So, but a new idea grew out of that, and that's really another example. So we knew as a company she needed some type of social entrepreneurship part of her business. So you can't just sell a product. That's very 80s. You need to really have a heart for the community, and that's really who she is too.
80s. It was
just all
selling
about
products in the 80s.
stuff,
okay.
stuff,
So what is the deal now? This is
I think we're living in a more authentic time. I think people care about what really matters. So if you're built like that, it's a great.
What does really matter?
Maybe I should turn around. What really matters to you?
Right.
Ooh,
Well,
I want to hear that,
Chris,
Grant.
what the heck are you doing?
Trying something out.
No, that isn't going to work though, because you have to talk into this bit here with. What matters?
He
to
was
people
getting a
in
little
bu-
bored with
what
my
happens to
dialogue.
pe-
Oh no, sorry.
What happens? What matters to a lot of people is that they get their money back when they invested in your business, or that they make enough money out of their idea to make a living.
Not necessarily. What
Oh, okay.
seems to matter a lot to people is that they can take their talent and use it for good and have. Hopefully
Instead of evil.
Pardon?
Instead of evil.
State of evil.
Instead of evil.
Instead of evil. Oh yeah.
But
definitely
like
instead
what?
of
But
evil.
most people want to have a good idea, like the healthy food. Don't use the word vending machine. What's
Fresh
it called?
cooler. It's called the fresh,
Fresh cooler.
Fresh
diabetes
cooler?
vending machines, right?
The vending machines give you diabetes.
Fresh coolers.
Fresh coolers do not.
Save
So
you.
you come up with that idea, you don't want to just do something good for the community, which you are doing anyway, but you actually want to make some money out of that, right?
Well, I think if you can do great things for the community and make money, what could be better? And I think you know what Susan does is what so many great entrepreneurs do is they take other people's ideas and they help them bring it to market. You know, Bill Gates.
Maybe he says it better than me.
Bill Gates holds no patents. Bill Gates took what other people were doing and found the best way to bring them to market and made billions of dollars.
Is he the richest man in the world?
He's doing a lot better than all of us.
He's
at the
pretty
table,
close to the richest man in the world,
right? And he
didn't have a single idea of his own.
He took what other people were doing, improved on it, and brought it to market in a better way.
Susan.
And I think that's what.
So
Susan's
the beautiful
doing.
thing about Bill Gates, if we use that example, is he did make money, does make money, and now uses it for incredible things. I mean, he's funding all kind of education projects, and the list is long.
Well, he's got more money than he can spend in a lifetime. He's got some billions of dollars and he's doing a good thing giving it away.
Yeah, it's more who's given, more is expected, right?
But Susan makes a much better bra than Bill Gates ever did.
Well, the sweet thing that came out of the bra business or the Ula bra strap business was that we, in turn, started reaching out and developing a program for cancer survivors. So the medical community will suggest, okay, your wife's been through cancer, my patient's been through cancer, why don't you participate in this program? So we take them through a program where they really learn to be empowered again. I mean, you kind of lose everything about yourself, you know, when you go through cancer. Most of the people participating have breast cancer, so there's that connection too there. But we are getting such incredible support for it around the community, and what's so special about that is it's just a multitude of ideas. So what's so fun to do is connect all the people to make that happen.
That is an amazing thing. That's called Unite, right?
Unite.
Unite. Yeah, I saw that. That's really a cool thing. It's giving it takes women who are cancer survivors and makes them like a runway model for a night.
That's right.
And they get made over. It's like a month's sort of program where they get made over and they get fitted for clothes, and it's an amazing thing. And then they have this big night where it's their runway models. It's super cool.
Well, we even had
it should be a TV show, don't you think?
Maybe Chris, you can help us.
Yeah.
You know,
I
because
like it.
There's real stories. You know, they're not made up stories. And you know, last night we brought in the new group for this year and the participants from last year, and we sat around and you know, Lisa brainstormed, and she's like, loves everything about sorority. So the candle pass is part of the sorority process.
Candle pass.
So these ladies each lit their candle and really told a little bit about their story. And as you listen to it, it just
like
takes you out of the superficial world into the real life.
Is it like a talking stick that the person who's holds the lighted candle gets to talk?
Yeah, exactly. Your turn.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's a sorority thing.
It's a sorority thing. I learned.
I didn't know that. Do you know that, you guys?
No.
Did not.
Never been in a sorority, Graham?
Oh, please don't ask about that. Yeah, I have another PTSD.
Really?
Yeah.
Second PTSD story out of 2. What's this one?
Yeah. I was in a sorority that will remain nameless. I still have some friends from those days.
Okay.
But I hated being in a sorority. Hated it.
Why?
Tell us importantly,
so
why did
she
you
would
join
be
if
like
you
the
hated
polar
it?
opposite of Lisa McKenzie's experience.
Yeah.
You know, and then my daughter, my husband and I went out for Gabrielle at University of Alabama, and they go through bid day for their sororities, and literally I felt like I was at a Mardi Gras event. I mean, they are thousands of girls, and they're running up the street, and they become lifetime friends. So we'll see.
Where's the Mardi Gras? I was waiting for the drunken bead throwing.
It's just that's a little bit under the radar, right? Because they are students.
They're not flashing their breasts.
When I hear sorority, I think pillow fights. So please, Graham, tell us about all the pillow fights with the other girls.
No pillow fights.
Oh.
No, it was more like.
What was so hard about it?
Graham, make up some stories about some pillow fights, please.
There was
Evidence.
Yeah, they wake you up, you know, in the middle of the night.
Hot.
And that's right. And they I don't know. God, are you? Am I not talking? See, I'm not used to this.
That's good.
Oh my God.
They wake up in the middle of the night. That's the worst thing that happened.
No. It's the worst thing that happened was. I'll tell you the worst thing that happened. I will
Had
tell
to
you.
have sex with
I'm
a goat.
No, I'm going to tell you. This
That was
you're close, but there was
Wow.
There was a girl and her sister, and they were, I guess that you would call them the
Goat fuckers.
boards called them promiscuous, the sorority board. And so they brought
So
these
far,
girls.
so good.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a good story. They bring these girls in front of the board, and they tell them that they will be kicked out of the sorority unless they undergo psychological counseling. And I quit. I was like,
Oh God, that's the best story you've
got.
got.
Oh.
People are threatened with psychological counseling, and then
I
what's
quit
wrong with
because
psychological counseling?
No, I just don't think it's anybody's business.
Tell us
Yeah.
more about the promiscuity.
I
Was
knew
the,
you
was,
were gonna
the,
ask.
was the counselor did he cure them with spanking? Maybe, perhaps. Is that
So-
where you're going with that?
All right.
What were
So
they
everyone-
wearing?
You know what I didn't like about the sorority? There was just nothing exciting happened, so I don't have any stories.
Nothing. Well, so these girls were punished for fucking guys. Or something?
Yeah, I thought that was lousy.
I would think so.
That's quite lousy.
Really.
That's so lousy. That's
Now,
the lousiest.
Were the other ones fucking girls if they were being punished for
That's
the
not
guys?
nice.
See?
Wow.
What state
Yes.
was this in, Graham?
I'm glad
I
you
went
said
to
it.
Tulane.
Tulane. Oh, this was at Tulane
Oh, it was.
in New Orleans.
Oh wait, I went to Tulane. Let me guess. Okay, here
Who
we go.
was it?
Do you know
Do you
these
know?
girls?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have any pictures?
I don't even remember their names.
Okay, guys, I just dropped her off a week ago. Y'all got to really back off, you know.
Well, what
It's
about
not
your
building my
your older daughter
confidence.
Amber? Right? Was she in a sorority?
She was a sorority girl too, and see.
So you must have been through the sorority, so it can't be too bad the second time.
It's been a great experience. I mean, and today you can't have promiscuous girls because anything they won't allow them in.
No, you can't
What?
have promiscuous girls today. Absolutely
No,
not.
not in
Hang on a minute.
sororities.
Hang
Your
on
kids
a
are
minute.
Not in
different.
sororities at Alabama, anyway.
Of course not.
No one's having sex at college anymore.
I don't think so. That was part of the
Oh,
application
Mom.
process.
That's a shame.
Yeah, Mom. I'm sure that's what they're telling you, right?
Yeah, that's
It's a week,
You-
7 days,
That's-
maybe
Yeah, but-
8 days she's been there.
Okay, so I'm sure that Alabama is different, but what I can say
It is.
what I can
I'm
say
sure it's different.
about my experience at Tulane and why I was so pissed off is that all these girls were screwing around. They just weren't being talked about.
But the sweet thing, if we take it back to the better side of that, is that a lot of the reason Lisa has instituted a lot of these parts of Unite and to cancer survivors is because of that sisterhood mentality of just, people take care of people.
Oh, they weren't taking
So
care
that's
of
the
them.
good
They
part.
were not taking care of those girls. Those girls were not being taken care of. They were being judged and mocked and kicked out.
I thought the whole thing was about sisterhood.
It's not. Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't. If there was a lot of backstabbing.
It's competitive.
It's competitive.
Well, that's life, right?
Yeah, but yeah, it is. But if
In a
you're-
vacuum.
If maybe I just don't like a lot of one's sex. Like being with. I'm not going to say I don't like women because I love women, but maybe just like too many. I probably wouldn't like to be with all men either. So maybe that's it. Not enough diversity. Not enough gender diversity.
Yeah, but women can change
Gotcha.
the world.
Women can change the world for sure.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I agree.
We're doing it.
I'm still interested
One
to
bra
find
strap
out.
at a time.
I'm wanting to find, well, two probably. I'm wanting to find out what we're good at. How you figure that out? How do you find out what someone's real talent is? Isn't that what we started off the show saying you were going to do at some point here?
Oh,
You don't
well,
have to
we
do it
didn't,
with all the-
but we can try.
But how do you do that? What's the system for finding out? I'm sure everyone listening to this, of our 3 listeners, would all like to know. How do you find out what you're good at?
Sometimes I think you have to, let go of what everybody around you is telling you should do or what the culture says you should do. If you can just drop some of those barriers, a lot of the natural part of you just evolves and creates. And put yourself surrounded by people who.
But that's just so easy to say that, though.
It's true, though. I mean,
But it's just anyone could say that. Like, oh, you want to just get in touch with your real self.
Nope.
Well, there's also
gotta be-
trial and error. You have to be willing to identify something you think you want to do and
Yeah,
then
but
try
all
it.
of us want to do something. I mean, you did it. So you want to be a rock star. Everybody wants to be a rock star.
I tried it. I was not successful.
You
at
were
it.
successful. You were successful.
Not as successful as I would
You
like
wanted
to
to
have been,
be.
but yes.
You wanted to be bigger.
Of course.
I think
But-
every guy wants to be bigger, Graham.
Yeah, that's
That's what we hear.
That's an email axiom right there. Want to get bigger? But yeah, I think. I mean, at least for me, like, it always seemed like everyone always asks you when you're a kid. You're
What do you
growing
want
up.
to do?
What do you want to do?
What do you
want
wanna
to
be?
be when you grow up?
Right.
And it doesn't seem to be okay to say I don't know. I don't know. I want to try. I have these interests. I like this. I like movies. I like cartoons. I like riding my dirt bike or whatever. the
Jersey
fuck it
beauty
is.
parlors.
I like Jersey beauty parlors. I like, and And there's less emphasis on, trying stuff out rather than, having a plan. And I don't know if that's fair to always have a plan.
That's beautiful. I mean, I think we go through grade school, high school, and we learn things and the process, and it's such an antiquated system because there should be a lot more focus on helping a person at a young age kind of just figure out what their natural gifts are. So
but suppose you're not at a young age. I mean, that's someone else's problem. We're at whatever age we're at now.
But we're talking about, people ask you what you want to do.
Yeah, but we're at this age that we're at, and we're all doing things, we're in jobs or we're in school or whatever it is, I'm not talking about...
So then more at this age, it's about having the courage to do something.
But how do you find out what it is? I mean, I want to do this and I want to do that, and I've always wanted to sing, or I've always wanted to tap dance, or I've always wanted to climb mountains, or whatever it is that it's your thing. What are you supposed to do? How do you find out whether you're actually going to be good at that, other than just changing your whole life and doing it?
Well, it's really not a simple 2-sentence answer to that question. So,
all right, you have
how long does it
4 sentences?
take?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about you, because you have obviously a really natural gift to carry this conversation among people who don't even know each other. So I would start right there and then build around it. I mean, But
I'm not talking about me. I'm just talking about a person in general.
Well, they would use the same process. I would look at
whatever you just naturally happen to be good at, whether it's mathematics or music.
Since we can't talk about school, we'll use Chris as an example. If he knows he's got a creative talent, then his whole focus needs to be around trying.
But he
things.
did that. He had the courage to leave an academic career behind, which he was successful at, and give it a go being a musician.
That's why I said courage is when you talk about our age.
So you just have to have the balls to do it.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know, I don't know where my center is. So what would you do? What would you say to me?
Start drinking.
What?
Start drinking.
First, she'd put you in a much better, much prettier set of bra straps.
No, that's a fair question. That's exactly what I'm talking about too. If you don't know.
Yeah. So we got to meet Graham, a few months back, and we talked about a few things that you do and where you spend a lot of your time and what comes most natural. So we would, to really figure it out, not just to superficially figure it out, we just spend a lot of time kind of going through the different options and different experiences you've had. I mean, you just have to work it out. You got to be willing to figure it out.
So how does this make you not a psychologist then? What are you exactly?
Let's say she came to me and really asked me to do that. All right. So I don't really know the answer to that question, but what I would say is I will discover something she's good at, or if Eric says, I want to expand my business in this direction, I'm not sure how to do it, we'll start connecting the dots, and I'll connect her with people that'll give her an opportunity to expand what they think they're good at. That to me is one of the best places to start. That's why I use the example for Unite. We have 24 boutiques and 24 salons who adopt a model where a lot of those boutiques and salons have no opportunities to really market themselves visibly. There are no fashion shows except for one other on the North Shore. So we give them opportunity to really not only take care of somebody, but also to showcase what they do for a living. If they choose to, they can build upon that, right? So when I start listing, we're probably up to about 200 different entities that come together to make this happen, and that is how you make the community better as a whole. Mm-hmm. And
that's a
people do
event.
discover things that they're good at via those processes because they come out of the woodwork and start.
That's a life-changing event when you've got cancer and you're faced with your own mortality, and it's like, I'm not going to spend the rest of whatever I've got left in some sort of bullshit job. I'm going to do what I really want to do.
But if we want to talk about the random, the cancer survivor that you're speaking to finds courage they didn't even know they had. So,
right.
So they have no choice. They're backed into the wall and they're going to have to figure it out. So, but all these supporting people, if we just use the boutiques and salons for an example, they get worn out, burn out, closing their doors every day. They need to think beyond that. Think about other ways to reach people, and this is given an opportunity to do so. They find out more what they're good at.
Eric, how did you find out you could lift? How many pounds was it?
462. Well, I started by lifting 1, and then when I could do that, I did 2, and then 462
Did you find? Are you naturally good at that?
I was athletic, but I think no matter what you do in life, you'll never be great unless you have discipline and dedication. So when I was powerlifting, my entire life focused around powerlifting and setting goals and reaching goals and eventually winning the national championship, which was my goal.
National championship.
As soon as I won the national championship, I was done powerlifting. I retired immediately. That was my goal. I set new goals. And I think, these days, people don't set goals. And if they set goals, they might talk about a goal.
Why do you think people don't set goals?
2% of the population sets goals. I don't know why. I think it's because we get stuck in a rat race. We get stuck doing what we do. We don't think about all the potential.
Susan is saying the same thing, that people just get stuck doing what they do and they don't think about what they really... And you're saying 98% of people don't have a clue what's going on from day to day.
And at the end of the day, you have to pay your bills. And so I think people get stuck in paying your bills and living paycheck to paycheck and never really expanding on what their potential is. And I think even if you can find your potential, like Chris is an amazing singer, a great songwriter, but that's not how he makes his money today. So you can have a passion.
How does he?
You can have I believe dancing professionally, right?
I'm a soft shoe. Wow! Check it out.
What the listeners don't know is Chris doesn't have pants on right now, which is quite a sight for all of us.
And I don't dance with my feet. Wow, some groans
we
right
haven't
there.
even
Wow.
got onto the Turn Again Tidal Energy Corporation. I can't tell if that's a joke or not, though. Are you really the director of some
not a
energy
joke.
company? It's for real.
I am a director.
You're the director of an energy company.
There's several directors.
What,
Yes.
What sort of energy do
So
you
it's
produce?
a bit of a tale. It's my dad's company. My dad is an engineer by training and a construction guy by trade. So he's been designing and building in Alaska since the mid 70s when we moved there. And he's like me, but in his own way, he's a dreamer. He thinks of big ideas, but unlike a lot of people, like Eric was saying, he acts on these ideas.
He's one of the 2%.
And not only that, he's an engineer, so he can figure out if it's actually doable. He can show you the pathway to do it. And he's very successful at at his job. But this was a new venture he started about 5 years ago. He had this idea. You look out from his office on the bay. The Bay of Anchorage is called Turnagain Arm, Cook Inlet. Captain Cook discovered it. The Captain
Really?
Cook, yeah.
Okay.
So, and it has these amazing tides, huge tides, 22 to 24 feet. It's
Between
run by
high
the
tide
moon,
and low tide.
Between high and
Right.
low tide. It's just massive. It's incredibly powerful tides. And he kept thinking, like, boy, there's got to be a way to do something with this, to be able to make energy out of this. So he started researching, tidal energy. And this was right when solar is a big deal now, but 5 years ago it was still like not untested, but it wasn't a big thing. Same thing with wind. Wind power was established, but before they had a bunch of government grants and tax credits, it wasn't the vibrant industry it is now. So he was like, maybe there's a renewable industry in this. So he researched. He found that tidal energy, there's been tons of these things done. Not tons, but enough that you could you could figure out how they did it. So there was a site in France that was very, very similar to the site in Anchorage called La Rance. And what they did was they built a fence across the middle of the bay. And this fence, at the bottom of the fence, there's 24 turbines. Each is a 10 megawatt turbine. When the tide comes in, the corkscrew turbine spins this way, makes electricity. There's a slack tide for half an hour, and then the tide goes out. Corkscrew, spins it the other way. So, and they've been producing electricity at 1.5 cents per megawatt hour. So by comparison, here in New Orleans, we pay about 12 cents per megawatt hour for gas-powered electricity.
Okay.
So just think about that. It's free, it's forever, and it's cheaper than carbon-based systems right now.
Okay.
However,
Someone had done this already in France.
this has been done in France.
Okay.
This has been done in England. This has been done in there's a new plant online in South Korea. There's one in China being built. It's starting to globally. It's starting to come online. The major barrier to entry into these things is a massive amount of money to start these things up.
build this thing out of the sea.
Each of these things is a lot of there's a lot of engineering, there's a lot of concrete, there's a lot of danger studies, environmental. In America, the big before you even get to all that, the big hurdle is environmental impact studies. So he started pursuing this project. I've been aware of it, and I haven't been helping him with it per se, but I've been really excited about it for several years. So a couple of months ago, he had the opportunity, and he's gone through all these regulatory hurdles. He's gotten his Federal Energy Regulatory Committee early. It's called a contingency permit. So now he has the right to go out and do these environmental studies, and if they pass him, then he can get the construction permit and actually build this fucking thing.
Okay.
Mind you, it costs $1 billion.
All right.
That's all?
Yeah.
Just $1 billion.
$1 billion before debt service. So recently there was a big conference of renewable energy financiers. So like every major bank, every big investment bank was all there, and they all have their heads of renewable energy, and 98% of the people there were solar and wind. And there were 2 hydro guys. One guy was like a small hydro guy who it was like a truck size thing. You put it in the water and any beach, and you could power like a job site. But ours was like, yeah, we got $1 billion project here. Well, my dad,
Did you go to this convention?
So my dad was supposed to go, and at the last minute, he's like, I can't do it. I got too much work in Alaska. Would you go and be my representative?
Okay.
So
where was it?
it was in New York.
Okay.
And like I said, I already knew all about it, and I just did some studying, and I went up there, and I met with all these guys, and the response was incredible. Like, everybody's like, we've been waiting for you guys to come along. We want to give you this money. Let's get this going, So
You got guys who are going to give you $1 billion.
we haven't sold it yet, but it's looking good. And we're hoping that the next phase, we got to get through the phase before the construction. The construction financing, honestly, is going to be easy. Getting the financing, they call it the trough. There's the trough between concept and construction. And we're in the part where we have to get through all the regulatory hurdles, and so we have to raise a small amount of money to get through that.
How much is that? What do you need?
$5 million.
$5 million. Eric?
Well, yeah, I think there's something a lot to be said. I think there's a lot of people with great ideas out there that are scared to ask people for money, and they might want $100,000 or $200,000. How do you go about asking someone for $1 billion?
Well, you got to gauge your audience, number one.
Do you tell them they're pretty first? Or
Well, the people I were talking to were
Where do you find
nobody fucking blinked at that number. They're used to these numbers. They really are.
That's
because
just what it costs to build stuff like this.
Yeah, they know the potential, and these are banks, mind you, so they're not big risk takers. What they see is like, that's a loan that they'll make X percentage of interest per year for 30 years. They can sell as bonds, and if you have a construction permit, the risk to them is low enough that they're like, okay, sure, 8%, let's go.
Okay, if this works, and you're the director of this thing, and this is your business for real.
It's my dad's business.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got this far. You're representing it.
He's old and infirm, and I'm the number one son, so I would assume the company would come to me. No, I'm kidding.
But you're representing it already. You've already been there and started negotiating for $1 billion.
You know what?
You're going to be a part of it.
I joke around about it.
First of all, you'll have to move back to Alaska.
But
That's the first bad news for you.
really, honestly, I'm passionate about this. I really believe in this. I think this is where that technology should go. Like, renewable energy, wind and solar is great, but it on average captures maybe 20 or 30% of the sun's energy. This is, and also it's you got to watch out for weather, and you got to watch, and at night, solar doesn't work at night. This, you could power the entire world's energy supply if you did this all over the world. Really, like, this is the new standard oil. I hate this word, but it's a game changer. It really is. So, and I think, like, if you can, whoever brings this to market first in the United States is going to be the industry leader in this, and I hope it's us. So I really, really hope. I'm really working hard on making that happen.
So you have competitors?
There are competitors, but like I said, the competitors are, first of all, they're few and far between. Most of them are not in America.
Right.
Like England, the UK has 2 sites in Scotland and Ireland. The Canada has a site on their west coast, but no American companies is going whole hog into this.
So if you got the money today, how long would it take to live that out?
The studies are approximately 2 years. The engineering would be about a year, and the construction would be about 5 years.
Would you do a test market area, or would you broad?
No, we would just do we would do it at that site. We've talked to the local utilities in Alaska. Like Anchorage, like I said, is the hub of Alaska. If we can tie to that to their grid, and we would be able to provide to 70% of the population of the state.
Wow.
So like it's built in. They want to buy our electricity. Their gas prices are going up. They're totally down if we can to buy whatever electrons we can sell them.
You know, I think there's a great lesson to be learned in what Chris said is through the $1 billion out there and nobody blinked. We've raised a good bit of money, and people always ask me, you know, what's it like to raise money? How did you do it? And I always tell them one thing, you know, there's no shortage of money in the world. There's trillions and trillions of dollars, and they print trillions every day. There is shortages of opportunity. And if you have a great idea, there's going to be people lining up to give you money out there. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs in the city that are trying to raise money, and they want to get money from whoever they can. And I always say, look, you need to interview people, and you need to see what else they're going to do for you besides just give you money, because there's no shortage out there. And make sure not only if you're going to get investors in, angels or VCs, they're going to help you in other ways. They're going to open doors. They're going to do things for you, because there is no shortage of money. Don't be fooled. There's a lot of money out there to do projects like that, and Chris is a great example of that.
Thank you, Eric. Well, I haven't sold it yet.
So we can come to you for investments too?
Sure. I mean, if I set you up with an investment, you'll send me some bra straps, right?
Well, we might go even beyond that, with meaning other products.
What's underneath the bra straps?
That didn't come out right.
For everyone listening at home, Susan's now taking off her shirt to show us what's underneath the bra straps.
That's commitment.
Hey, I got to put on my
While
producer's
Chris's
hat
pants
for a
are off.
minute.
We had to get out of here.
Well, I
have to get out of
I
here.
brought Susan here for a reason.
I will tell you one thing. You never know who you're sitting around these tables with.
I know.
I never would have thought at the beginning of this conversation I would have heard the singer from Supagroup tell me he was going to change the world by supplying the universe with a different energy source. Would you have guessed that, Susan, when you sat down here today?
No, I wouldn't have guessed that, but I love that.
Nobody.
As soon as Chris took his
Amazing.
pants off, I knew he was
Knew
special.
something was going
I
on.
knew
Well,
he
that
was
tattoo
special.
gave it away, right? Tidal energy.
And I was going to make you play another song, and we're out of. You want to just do it? No, screw it. You want to talk about Susan has something to promote
Yes.
before we leave
I
here.
want you. We're not leaving here until
Yeah,
Susan.
Susan,
thank you,
tell us
Graham.
what it
Thank
is.
you,
You've got
Graham.
43
Okay,
seconds.
so 43 seconds. So
42
another
now.
two incredible people, Penny and Quentin Dastute, have he was diagnosed with Parkinson's and now has become really a supporter of finding the cure, because there is no cure for Parkinson's. So
Does he have an ice bucket?
and
That's the first step to finding a cure for
so
anything
that's
now.
for ALS.
I know. What about
Yeah,
the Parkinson's
so-
ice bucket thing?
Instead, we have the Bucktown All-Stars playing for us September 18th at Stone Creek Health Club and Spa on the North Shore.
Let me just make this absolutely clear to anyone who's listening to this. This is September 18th, 2014.
Yes.
That's
Because
right.
people do listen to these shows
Yeah,
for
forever.
years.
Yeah, 2014.
So let's just make this clear. September 18th, 2014. If you happen to be listening to this before then, you can go
on kickingparkinsons.com.
kickingparkinsons.com.
Kickingparkinsons.com
Kicking
and buy
with
your
a G?
tickets.
No.
Kicking.
G. Kicking.
Kicking Parkinsons. Okay. Did you come up with that?
It was a team effort.
Okay. Kicking Parkinsons. That could be a good band name, actually.
Yep, it's good. It's going to be fun. I hope people come.
Okay, so
What
what
time
is
is
it? It's a party. It's a
party.
fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser, a party. I mean, and certainly people can donate to the cause too. I mean, I
Okay.
interviewed 8 different people with it, learned so much about the disease. I knew nothing about it.
Right.
And after having cancer myself, I came out of it thinking, at least when you have cancer, you know that there's a hope you're going to be okay. With Parkinson's, you're diagnosed knowing there is no cure, and your symptoms progressively get worse. So it's a great
God, that must be a
disease to
terrible
help.
thing to find out you've got a disease of which there's no cure, for which there's no cure.
So Susan,
So-
it's September
What a terrible
18th.
situation.
What time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. What
And-
should we wear? Is it,
I think the doors open at
shorts?
6. The band starts at 7. Wear whatever you want. Just buy a ticket and come.
Okay. Bucktown All-Star
Pants
September
are
18th.
recommended.
Okay, thanks, Susan. I'm glad you
Pressure
got
out.
that in.
Thank
All
you.
right. Good job, Graham. Thanks for hanging out. Everybody, thanks for joining me
Thank
today.
you,
My
Graham.
guests have been Chris Lee, director of the Turnagain Arm Tidal Energy Corporation. Remember, you heard it here first.
$1 billion.
No kidding. And Eric as well has been here. Erik Frank from Your Nutrition Delivered, where you can actually get your nutrition delivered. Is that called yournutritiondelivered.com?
That's correct.
And Susan Bopp as well, B-O-P-P. These are the best names of anyone we've ever had on the show. Bopp, Frank, and Lee. I think we should just call the show that. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody.
law firm.
Thank you.
That's been Happy Hour for another
Dewey,
week.
Cheatham, and Howe.
Our producer is Graham DePonte, who's been actually on the show today. Our associate producer and technical director is Chris Kehoe. Christian Unruh as our music director, and Joshua Brown as our music coordinator. The theme song that you're currently listening to was written by and is being played by Mitch Foreman. The fabulous audio quality of the show is brought to you in part by PreSonus Audio Electronics. Check them out at presonus.com. If you can sit around a table for about an hour and have a couple of beers and still be able to talk, you might like to be a guest on our show. Drop us a line. Our address is on our website. You can also find other Happy Hour shows to listen to there, as well as some other shows we make. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace. Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajek. True to the Game with Chris True. Midnight Menu Plus One with Margot Moss and the Man Who Ate New Orleans, Ray Canado. And Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker. You can keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and a whole bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. And all of it, we're It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show and find out what we all look like on our website, itsneworleans.com, as well as Facebook. These photos are taken by the fabulous Douglas Engel, who's looking right at you. If you're listening to this show on iTunes or Stitcher or Swell or some other podcast app that you like, please, if you would, stop everything you're doing right now and take a moment to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. You can also rate and review us on our fabulous new Google Plus page. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street, home of handcrafted food and spirits where they put fine dining into a sandwich. Happy Hour is a product of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. Andrew Duhon is wandering around the world somewhere. He'll be back, I think, maybe next week or the week after. Till then, thanks for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. We'll see you back here next time on Happy Hour.
Let's be honest, there are tons of ways to send money back home, and every company promises me the same things: good rates and safe transfers. That's why it can be overwhelming to choose a new way to send money. I switched to Remitly because I can track my money every step of the way, which means I know exactly when my mom will get her money. And with their extensive payment network, my mom can receive her money in a way that is more convenient and safe for her. You should check it out. Go to Remitly.com or download their app to get started. Remitly Inc. is a licensed money transmitter by the state of New York, California, Massachusetts, and other states.